Hello everyone and welcome back to Russell's Movie Reviews, the show where I review stuff that's supposed to be pretty good and maybe one of the best movies of all time, or a film that absolutely sucks and should remain in the depths of hell. And welcome to the season finale for season 3. Um, the season has been a good run, you know, really. This season has been mostly films that I have never seen before, and so it was a really big eye opener to many films that I consider classics now. Um, and To end out the season, I'm thought might as well do a classic. Yesterday I did Captain Phillips, and so I thought today, one, let's do a classic film to end off the season, and two, let's end it with a historical film that is truly amazing. And what other film can I choose other than The Untouchables, released in June of 1987. Um, Now, to discuss my history with this film, this was one of the few films that I've known for a very long time. This was one of the few Sean Connery films that I've ever heard of when I initially started getting into films, along with The Hunt for Red October, which was, I believe, episode 50. So, uh, I might have it on the end card over here um, at the end of this review. But it was that and The Untouchables that I've heard about. But the thing was, I'd never seen The Untouchables until today. Um, it was always Hunt for Red October that I would always seek out to watch. In The Untouchables, I kind of just put it off in its own corner. A few months ago, I was looking for Amazon and I managed to stumble across the Blu ray. And so I thought, you know what? Screw it. This is probably the only time I'm going to be able to get it. And so I purchased it. And it came, in the package. And um, I never watched it until this review. And this is definitely one of the best mafia films I've ever seen. And one of the. I'm just going to flat out say right now, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Um, um, Maybe my opinion might change in the near future when I watch it, a few more times. But as of now, it is a very high ranking, which again I will, like I do most of the time, I will tell you guys my rating at the end of this video. But without further ado, um, let's get on to the review itself. So this was made on a budget of $25 million. Domestically, it made over 76 million, and worldwide, it made over 106. It made 106.2 million. So this was a, I would say, a moderate success. I mean, it did make its budget back and then some, and worldwide, it did make over its budget. So yeah, I would call that a success. Um, and this was directed by Brian De Palma, who has made some of the most classic and most greatest films ever made. Um, so Learning that his name was attached to this film, it was a um, it was a like a I just felt good because I was like, I'm most likely going to have a good time watching this because it's directed by Brian De Palma, who really I don't remember ever making a bad movie. Um, and most of his films that he's made are renowned as classics today. So um, so I wasn't that worried. But the thing I was worried about initially was how accurate it was, since this is a historical film. Um, I was wondering to see if um, if I liked the film and it had many, it wasn't that that historically accurate, or what else? What if I hate the movie and it turned out that it was very accurate. Like for example, I know that Gladiator is one of the most well-renowned films of all time, and but it's very very inaccurate with its depiction. Um, on the other hand, there is Alexander, which was a snooze fest to get through, and yet it's actually pretty accurate. So, and not saying that all films that are accurate are bad films. I mean, Captain Phillips is a good example of saying that you can make a historically accurate film while also making a fun film. You know, like while doing so. Um, and I'll just say this right now before I get too into depth about it. This film has changes a lot of things from history. So I guess I technically will say that this film is technically historically inaccurate. Um, but again, I will discuss that later in the review. Um, but basically, The Untouchables is basically about Elliot Ness, or I guess to go into depth about it. After building an empire with bootleg alcohol legend crime boss Al Capone, played by the fantastic Robert De Niro, um, rules Chicago with an iron fist. Through bro, bro, I can't say. Prohibition agent Elliot Ness, played by again the fantastic Kevin Costner, attempts to take Capone down. Even his best efforts failed to failed. I can't speak today. Um, failed due to widespread corruption within the Windy City's police force, recruiting an elite group who won't be swayed by bribes or fear, including Irish American cop Jimmy Malone, played by the fantastic Sean Connery. Ness renews his determination to bring Capone to justice. Now, just by me saying that alone, the plot of the film is very historically inaccurate. But again, I'll go more into that later. So, to go over the cast, we of course have Kevin Costner as the main character, Elliot Ness. Um, and he does a fantastic job uh, with his performance. So does Sean Connery as Jimmy Malone. Uh, Andy Garcia as George Stone. I think this was his. It maybe it was his acting debut. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, he does great with his performance, along with Charles Martin Smith as Agent Oscar Wallace. And we have, like I said, the fantastic Robert De Niro as Al Capone. You know, fantastic as usual. We have Billy Drago as Frank Nitti. He does he pulls off a very creepy performance. We have Patricia Clarkson. So sorry if I butchered that name, as Catherine Ness, and we have Caitlin Montgomery as Ness's daughter. And yes, that's what she's credited. They don't exactly give her a name. Um, but yeah, really, everyone just does fantastic to either great or fantastic performances. So, um, you know, gotta give it props to Brian De Palma for bringing out the best in all of these actors. Um, I've heard. I mean, if you guys have seen the channel before, I've done Hunt for October with Sean Connery, so you guys already know that I am a huge fan of him. And so hearing that he was in this film, it was it gave me it gave me like hope that like maybe this film might be actually good. Along with Kevin Costner, who has done great stuff. Um, so like there was potential, and like I said, this film is amazing. Um, but saying that, and like I said earlier, this film has a lot of inaccuracies, which I will go over. And again, if you guys want to go, if you guys want to know more in-depth details about really each plot point and some of the the things the film actually gets correct, which again I will discuss in this review, there will be a link down in the description below to the History Buffs video about it. So go and check out that video after watching this review. Um, but anyway, without further ado, let's get on to the inaccuracies. So, the film opens up with Elliot Ness with his wife and child. Now, by 1930, Elliot Ness was only married for 1 year and did not have any children. So that's strike one for the film. And the only reason why they did, I'm assuming the only reason why they did that was was so that Elliot Ness has an emotional connection to the case. Because if you remember, or if you guys have seen the film, spoilers for this, um, the opening scene is a little girl the same age as Ness's daughter, getting horribly killed in a an explosion at a speakeasy that that Capone ordered to have explode. So um so yeah. Um and then he obviously gets to the police station, and the scene where he's telling all the police all the cops in the training room to like stop drinking because it's illegal is honestly a bit hypocritical, because in real life Ness was a heavy drinker himself, so it kind of just seems like you're kind of pushing him, movie. And again, I think the only reason why they did that was because to make him more like the hero, say like stop drinking, it's not okay, and blah 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 blah. The next things I'm about to say is besides Elliot Ness, every single one of the Untouchables are fictional characters. George Stone is completely like he's not even based on anyone. George Stone is just a completely fictional character, and I'm guessing the only reason why they had him like as a part of the team is to have an Italian a part of the Untouchables, so that the sides are somewhat even. Because I'm guessing that if they didn't have George like as a part of the Untouchables, it would kind of be like, oh, that's kind of weird that you're going against the Italians, so might as well have an Italian on the team. Um, um, which, and by the way, if you guys haven't heard me before, George Stone is Andy Garcia's character. Jimmy Malone, who is Sean Connery's character, is unfortunately fictional as well, even though he is loosely based on the true person Michael Malone. Um, Now, instead of what the film shows us of Jimmy being like a like the mentor to Elliot Ness, who is like the student, um, Michael Malone actually infiltrated Al Capone's like group, and he kept he kept in touch about like what they were saying, and let the cops know, and blah blah, blah, like stuff like that. Um, and finally, Oscar Wallace, played by again Charles Martin Smith, is also fictional, but heavily based on the real life person uh, Frank J. Wilson, who really was the true hero behind. He really was the one who brought Capone down, not Elliot Ness, because he was an ICE, or I forgot how it was, but he was basically an agent assigned to figuring out like what was Capone doing, and he found out about the all the bootlegging and the income tax returns and all that, and he was the one who basically brought Capone down. It was not Elliot Ness. Um. Also, none of the Untouchables died during uh, during the investigation. So unfortunately, those scenes that you may have cried at in the film did not happen, which is kind of unfortunate, and I'm honestly kind of sad that those scenes aren't historically correct. Um, and then we find they also, I don't believe the Untouchables traveled to the U.S. Canadian border just to stop a bootlegging trade. So what I it's just but yeah, I don't think the Untouchables went to the U.S. Canadian border to stop a bootlegging trade, and I don't even think that the bootlegging trade even happened in real life because booze and like liquor were legal in Canada. So I don't really understand that point. And then finally we get to the final sort of scene, which is basically the whole sequence in terms of the courtroom case. Starting with Elliot noticing that Frankie Nitti, played by again Billy Drago, is carrying a gun in court, which contains one of my favorite lines in the whole film, where he looks over and he sees the gun. And he's like, "Son of a bitch is carrying a gun in court." um, and I gotta admit that's actually a really like kind of like funny and badass line at the same time. But he calls over a one of the cops that's in there. And he goes and gets Nitty out of the courtroom. Now, yes, technically this is true that one of Capone's sort of like lackeys was escorted out of the courtroom for carrying a gun, but it wasn't Frank and Nitty. Um, so yeah, that technically is like it's semi true, but it's also like not true because it wasn't Frank and Nitty. But anyway, um, when he um when Nitty is like giving out all of his things, he shows that he has a permit for it, and when Ness looks at it, I find that it's pretty cool that they actually bothered to put that it was signed by I think it was William S. Thompson. Um, Now that is not true, but I like the fact that they added that in because William S. Thompson was actually um, under Capone's like rule, and he is one of the most well known corrupted American politicians. So I find that kind of cool that they actually included that into the film, even though how they did it was not entirely correct. But um, moving on, the whole gunfight between or the whole chase between Ness and Nitty is unfortunately not true. Um, um, so that whole cool action scene at the end of the film, that did not happen. Um, and also Nitty was never killed by Ness. So that 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 I gotta admit that pretty cool scene where after um Nitty tells Ness that Malone screamed like a what was it? He screamed like an Irish pig, and he starts walking away, and then Ness just grabs him and basically just chucks him off of the roof, like basically murders the man, and then says the most badass and my favorite line in the whole film is when he goes down the stairs and he goes, I think it's Stoner who was like, "Where's Nitty?" And he's like, "He's in the car." Like that's badass, but unfortunately that is not true. Um, Also, unfortunately, the last huge gunfight of the film, which is the Union Station shootout, is unfortunately not true as well, which is does kind of suck because that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole film. Um, Also, Ness never confronted Al Capone ever because in the film he confronts him twice. Once is in the I think it's in the Lexington or Langham hotel. Um oh yeah, they never confronted there, and they also didn't confront him in the courtroom. So yeah, Ness never confronted Al Capone ever. Um and the famous or the banquet the bank hall scene or the banquet scene is actually true. It that did happen, but it wasn't one guy that Al Capone killed. It was two. Not to go too into depth about this because again, the history buffs video goes a little bit more into depth about this. But basically, two of Capone's henchmen planned on overthrowing him and taking control of the um they were planned on taking control, so Capone invited both of them to a banquet and murdered both of them with a baseball bat. Which I like the fact that they actually did bother to try make Capone murder the guy with a baseball bat. So nice going, filmmakers. Um, and then finally the actual court scene. Um, in the film, it's shown that they find a piece of paper that shows all the jurors, I believe, were bribed or like were bribed by Capone. And he takes this to the judge, saying like this is key evidence, but the judge dismisses it, saying like that's not like crucial evidence. Ness lies to the judge, saying that his name was on the list. Um, Now that did not happen. Yes, the jurors were bribed by Capone, and yes, the judge did switch um did switch them around, but he was never bribed. In fact, he didn't switch them like in the middle of the court case. It was actually right before the court case, because he had a suspicion that they were bribed. So the um right before it started, he said, "All right, switch them," basically, and then yeah. Um. So yes, this is technically a this is like I technically count this as a historically inaccurate film, but honestly, I don't care because this film is fucking amazing. Um, I guess to go over the fun fact that I have along with the score, and then to my final rating for the film. Um, the fun fact that I have is that Albert H. Wolf, which was the at the time the last survivor of the real life Untouchables, was a consultant on the film and even helped Kevin Costner with his portrayal of Elliot Ness. Now, if that's the case, then I believe that Kevin Costner's performance is pretty accurate to how Ness actually acted. So, good job, filmmakers. Um, the score was composed by Ennio Morricone, who you guys are fans of my channel and fans of film in general may remember that he did the score for The Thing. Now, this score is absolutely amazing, and I can listen to the opening theme several times. And granted, yeah, he does use the same cue multiple times throughout the score or throughout the film, but it's such an amazing score that it doesn't really even bother me. Um, I don't think there is an expanded release. I know there was an album released around the time of the film, which is all Morricone's work, which you could easily find on like iTunes or YouTube for streaming. And like I said, I don't know if there's an expanded release. I will look more into that, but if there is, I will leave a link down in the description below. But if there isn't, then I will probably put a link down to the original album version for on YouTube so that you guys can go listen to that. But yeah, I think some of my favorite tracks on there are the opening thing, which I think is called "The Strength of." Actually, let me look at that real quick. Okay, so I just looked it up, and the title track, or the track that plays over the opening credits, is called "The Strength of the Righteous," and um, amazing track, along with the end credits theme and the death theme. Um, so, um, yeah, very powerful stuff. And again, like I said, I will I will definitely leave a link down in the description below for the original album release on YouTube. So if you guys want to go and check that out, then again that will be in the description below. Um, and so yeah, final thoughts on the Untouchables. Now, as I said, this film is technically historically inaccurate, but to me, I don't give a shit. This film is honestly, in my personal opinion, a perfect movie. It's probably one of the perfect mafia films ever made. Like, and it could perfectly go alongside Goodfellas and Casino as some of the best, and if not the best, mafia film ever made. Um, and I think this is actually the first mafia film I reviewed technically for the channel. So might as well start out with a classic, and this is certainly a classic, and I'm not afraid and I'm not ashamed to give this film an A plus, which it deserves. So, like I said, this film may not be entirely historically inaccurate or historically accurate, but honestly, I have such a fun time watching this film that I can give less of a shit about it. So I'm still gonna give this film an A plus. Again, my opinion may change in the future when I watch this film multiple times, but as of this review, I'm gonna give this film an A plus because it absolutely deserves it. So anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed season 3 of Russell's movie reviews. Don't worry, I will be making a 4th season at some point, probably around the beginning of summer, which will be, I know at some point in season 4 I will discuss the 3 Cars films because Cars is celebrating its 15th anniversary this year. So I thought might as well get, I want to do all of them uh, during at the beginning of summer vacation. So I'm gonna post all of them most during season 4. In terms of other films I want to discuss during the season, I'm not exactly sure as of now. So that's where you guys come in. I want you guys to leave your suggestions down in the comment section below, or on any Instagram and Facebook posts that I make about my channel. Which again, both of those links would be down in the description below. So yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this the end of season 3. You can click over here and click on my face right here, or click at the bar down there with my name, with the channel name, and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon for to get notifications on when new videos are coming out. And you can click over here on the previous review and the Hunt for Red October review, which also has Sean Connery in it. And again, special thanks goes out to History Buffs for helping me compile the inaccuracies for this film. Go and check out their video right down there. Um, and so, yeah, guys. Hope to see you guys in season 4. Live longer, prosper. Out.